So I can't vote my conscience, which is Gary Johnson, but. I support Gary Johnson.
All right, Peter, Sean, right? How you doing?
Hey, Sean.
All right, great working there. I always follow your stuff. You're very intelligent. Wish your dad was out. He'd be able to help more people. Real quick, just want to skim through implications of QE3, 4, 5, and so on. I mean, how?
Well, QE3 is the last one because this one is indefinite. Well, we know the implications. We know it's not going to help the economy. It's going to impede the economy's recovery. It just creates inflation, and ultimately it's going to lead to a destruction of the economy, a collapse in the currency, implosion of the bond market. I mean, the question is when? How much longer can the Fed, postpone the inevitable?
Right. Now, implementation of Audit the Fed.
Well, I don't know that we're actually ever going to audit it, so...
if we get that. Okay, what will happen if we audit the Fed?
I don't know, because I don't know how thorough the audit's going to be, and auditing it doesn't mean actually doing anything. Maybe it's a first step in a process.
What's going to happen if the government from the people shut down and end the Fed?
Well, it all depends on what replaces it. If nothing replaces it and we go back to honest money, then it's a great progress. If we end up turning over the presses to Congress, then it's actually a step in the wrong direction.
Okay, so now we get to a point where the Federal Reserve collapses as the world reserve currency. Do you see another currency like the IMF or BIS taking over, or what
Probably not.
Replacement?
Probably not. I think we go back to gold. I don't know that any fiat currency would replace the dollar. I think the world might learn its lesson and go back to real money. But if we don't go back to a gold standard, is it possible that another currency could, be the predominant reserve currency? Sure, but I do think that ultimately fiat currencies need to be legitimate currencies. They need to be backed by real money, and I think gold is the most likely money to be used.
So the reserve currency can work as long as there's something behind it besides just fiat, imaginary.
Right, and so it would have real value, and then it could still be held. Look, the dollar was held, as a reserve when it was still backed by gold.
Right.
All
right, now where's your money now? I mean, as long as they keep, easing the markets, the paper markets are going to still require.
Well, it's the same types of assets that I recommend: gold, silver, mining stocks, natural resource stocks, foreign bonds.
Here's an off-the-wall question here for you. You probably won't like, but if you were invited to Bilderberg, would you attend?
I don't know.
I would.
I'm not likely to be invited anywhere, but yeah, probably. Who knows?
All right, another one here. There was a video out there, and I know there's some controversy behind it, but as far as presidential endorsements, you want to say who you're endorsing for president?
Well, I've said before, I support Gary Johnson. That's who I would like to see win of the candidates who are, in a position to be elected, because Gary Johnson is going to be on, I think, in all 50 states, if not pretty much close to them. But, but realistically, he's not in the debates. He's not going to win. That doesn't mean I can't vote for him to show my support. I live in Connecticut, and Obama's going to win Connecticut regardless of who I vote for. So I'm going to vote my conscience, which is Gary Johnson. But, of the other two alternatives, either Obama is going to get reelected or Romney's going to replace him. Given those two choices, I would take Romney over Obama.
One thing you support about Romney. One thing you support about Mitt Romney.
He's not Obama.
Okay.
And so he's not as bad as Obama, and I do think that he is going to be more sympathetic to the free market, even though he's not advocating those policies now. In the aftermath of a crisis, he is far more likely to entertain market-based solutions, to recognize the error of the past, even if he was complicit in some of those errors himself. I think Obama is too predisposed towards socialism. He will never see government as the problem, never see central banking as the problem. He will always view the market as the problem, capitalism as inherently flawed, and look for more government. And I hope that Romney can be persuaded to look towards the market and to put the blame on government where it belongs. And I'm hoping that much of what Romney says is just politics. In other words, he lies to get elected, but that in his heart, he actually feels a different way, and that might come out in the crisis. Whereas Obama probably believes the stuff that he's saying.
Well, Romney has said, yeah, first was repeal Obamacare, and now it's repeal and replace. Now it's just replace and amend. I mean, we don't know what the hell they're going to do. The only thing we know they're going to do is continue to grow government. Do you see that's true?
Well, government's going to grow until it can't grow anymore, because it's eventually, government's a parasite, but eventually you kill off the host, and then the parasite dies too. So there's going to be a limit. The government is now growing by debt and borrowing and cheap money, but that's going to come to an end, and so the government's going to have to, shrink dramatically, or everybody is going to die.
Really, the most important question there is that I could possibly ask you: have you seen the Gray State trailer yet?
The what?
You rolling?
Yeah,
you rolling?
Yeah, we're good.
This is John Wannick of the Resistance. I don't know how far this broadcast will reach. They've taken the city. They're trying to erase us. Now more than ever, we need you to act. And if you're receiving this message, you've been recruited. Welcome to the fight, Patriots. Yeah, fight!
The Gray State trailer.
No.
Our enemies are moving in, and they anticipate us not having the numbers to resist. It is up to you to prove them wrong. Get this message out, and wake up the Patriots! I don't need to remind you what would happen should we fail. One of these days could be our last. By helping and taking action and contributing to the cause, you'll be remembered as taking a stand against the Gray State before it completely destroys everything we know. You're inside! Most of us die pointlessly and are forgotten. Do you really want to die without making a sound? Either stand now or kneel forever! You alright? He's coming? He's dead. Keep rolling! There are only days left. The gloves are off, the safeties are off. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. Diplomacy is over. War is here. If we don't make this happen, history will not remember us!
The Gray State trailer is it's a movie that's being made about the collapse of the United States, the rise of FEMA, the shortage of food, the QE4, 5, continuous.
You haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Got to get you to see it.
All right, well, check it out.
Absolutely. Last question I want to ask you, Peter. I know you got to get out of here. Which one will come first, a new investigation into 9/11 or the ending of the Federal Reserve?
Well, I don't know. I mean, who's going to investigate 9/11 again? I don't know. I don't know when the Federal Reserve is going to end, so I don't know the answer to that question.
Hypothetically.
I'd rather see them end the Fed.
Yeah.
But again, the question is, replace it with what? So it's a very dicey proposition. I've said that I'd rather initially just take away most of the Fed's powers and return it to its original mission from 1913, and then phase it out once we've basically caged it back up again and taken away all the power. Because right now the Fed has so much power. If we got rid of it and simply transferred that power someplace else, it might be even more dangerous in somebody else's hands. So first I want to diminish the power so that the Fed is a lot less relevant, and then maybe we can get rid of it without worrying about what replaces it.
So you think a new investigation in 9/11 just kind of, people are too complacent, it's been too far, too long, it's never going to happen?
I don't think that is on anybody's front burner right
well,
now.
The first responders that are still dying.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, well, thanks.
All right, appreciate it. And check out Gray State. I'll get that over to you, the Gray State trailer.
I'll check it out.
All right, thanks, Peter.
Thanks.
It's important for everybody to be able to protest because it's our First Amendment right. You have the right to assemble and petition your government. It's a First Amendment right, so all protests are important. You may not agree with the protest, but you should still support any protest because there may be a time you want to do it.